let's go ahead and talk about the women's side of this because it is International Women's Month.
Thank you.
Here are your local placements for Coach Yo and Ole Miss are in Spokane Regional 1. They'll start in Waco, Texas, and face Ball State as a 5 seed. Tennessee, also a 5 seed. They're in the Birmingham Regional 3, and we'll head to Columbus, Ohio. Your 1 seeds are Texas, South Carolina, UCLA, and Jessica Benson's USC Trojans. I thought I had. Oh, there it is. Okay, there's my full screen graphic. I know I did that. So there's your look at your local placements. Those are your 1 seeds. I know you're clearly rooting for USC, but what are your thoughts about the women's season thus far and in the NCAA tournament?
Well, the thing that stands out to me with USC and in the greater landscape of women's college basketball is that only one of Juju Watkins or Paige Beckers will be able to make it to the Final Four because USC and UConn are in the same region. Mm-hmm. That means they will inevitably, if all goes as planned, meet in the Elite Eight, which is the same situation as last year. UConn upset USC. USC now beat UConn in December of this year, and only one of them will be able to be there, which I just think is a bummer when it comes to having the opportunity to see the biggest faces. If there's one primary difference between the men's and the women's games right now, people are more familiar with the stars of the women's games.
The stars have brands.
And that comes off of Caitlin Clark, and that comes off of Angel Reese and everything else that filled out around them. You're now seeing something similar with Paige Beckers, with Juju Watkins. Juju Watkins, one of the coldest players in the game right now. But
real hoops.
But even how that extends outwards of UCLA's Lauren Betts and Notre Dame's Hannah Hidalgo, who were both National Player of the Year candidates this year. Me too. And Notre Dame falling to a 3 seed is
dark horse.
Interesting.
They're really good.
They're so good. There was a period in December where you would watch Notre Dame play basketball, and between Olivia Miles and Hannah Hidalgo, you thought there's no way this team's going to lose to anybody. And so it will be interesting to see how they perform as one of the non-1 seeds, non-2 seeds out there. South Carolina had a little bit of beef with not being the overall number 1 seed. That went to UCLA. South Carolina had more quad 1 wins than anyone in the country. They particularly built their schedule that day. That way, Dawn Staley talked about how if anyone can just get a 1 seed, we'll reevaluate how we build our schedules moving forward. But South Carolina's the favorite for a reason. Dawn Staley, you talk about coaching in March. Mm-hmm. There is nobody better right now than Dawn Staley. And this is the first time since 2020 that South Carolina isn't the overall number 1 seed. So I still think they're the scariest team in the tournament for all those reasons.
What are your thoughts about UCLA?
I think they're a very, very good team. And again, Lauren Betts could be one of those women who has a breakout, and it's hard to call it breakout because she's had such a tremendous season, but becomes a household name very, very quickly based on how she performs. I will remind everyone that USC beat them twice in the regular season. Now, USC did not win in the Big Ten championship game, and it has been an issue for USC where if Juju Watkins is not going lights out, who else is filling in around her? And UCLA was able to really take advantage of that in that championship game. But they're a great team. Texas is a great team as well. Those 4 1 seeds are all, that's why they're a 1 seed. Like, you're capable of winning it all.
Right. Yeah, and they even said it. I think it was the UCLA head coach yesterday was actually on ESPN. She was talking about how that rivalry and that brand that UCLA and USC have, they're like, yeah, we've already played each other 3 times. Mm-hmm. We need to make it 4 times because it's important to them. I always like watching Juju Watkins, particularly when she plays.
Oh,
it's
UCLA.
Like
it's a different
level.
She understands.
She gets like the lights get real bright for her, not in a bad way, but in the best way. In the best way, she's like, no, I'm trying to take
kid
UCLA's
in a candy store, ready to go, ready to put up biggest stats that you'll see in the game this year. But I think a part of that is because she's from that area, and so just understanding the true rivalry between USC and UCLA, it's so close. Without traffic, and it's never without traffic, but it's like 15 minutes away. But without traffic, it's ridiculously close. But it's fun to think that like both of them will be hosting those early games.
I asked you about UCLA because it's one of those. I know you're a USC Trojan, so it's like say something nice.
So I wanted to go to UCLA before I ended up at USC. Yeah, it's a tough thing, and it's weird for me here in Memphis too. I was a huge UCLA basketball fan. Period. So that 2008 Final Four was a very, I won't say conflicted at the time. I didn't think about rooting for Memphis. Now I look back on it with like blue-colored glasses, and I obviously would say differently. But at the time, that UCLA team was everything to me.
Whole lot of college hoops going on right now. March Madness is among us, and we will be taking it in bit by bit.